Hello everyone, my name is Yoav Waxman and I'm Professor of Economics at Coastal Carolina University. In this tutorial, I'm going to show how to use Google Form to create quizzes and how to share those quizzes with your class. While most learning management systems allow you to create quizzes, the advantage of using Google Form for quizzes is that they're easy to create, they can be very visual, they can be shared easily across multiple classes, and you can control and share the result easily. So let's begin. To begin, you need to go to google.com and create an account. If you already have an account, the best way to find your form is to go to google.com/forms. This will open up all the forms you created recently. You can choose any of the templates over here, or you can start from blank, which is what we're going to do for this tutorial. Now Google just opened a new form. I want to make sure to title that form, so I'm going to call it Geo Quiz. I'm going to do a quiz about geography. The title on the top left is the one that you're going to see when you open the forms page, and you can call it anything else for the student. So I'm going to call it World Geography Quiz. And then I can add a description. Complete this quiz to test your knowledge of world geography. And I can even add a picture. So for example, I'm going to click on the image over here, and I'm going to browse for an image. And I'm going to go over to my desktop and pick this picture that I downloaded from Pexel.com and describe it as map of the world. And now I can begin adding questions. So question 1 is already here. I don't have to add it, and I'm just going to ask, what is the capital of Germany? And now I have to put some options, so I'm going to put Frankfurt, Hamburg, Berlin, and Bonn. And then I'm going to add one more question by clicking on the plus sign on the right side. And then I'm going to ask, which of these countries are in Asia? And I'm going to say check all.apply. And when I wrote check all.apply, notice that Google changed the question from multiple choice to a checkbox. And if I click on this drop-down menu, I can see all the options that I have for question. Short question, which for example could be complete the sentence, a paragraph or an open question, multiple choice, checkbox, and drop-down menu are the most commonly used option for quizzes. I'm going to add another question. So let's try a different option this time. I'm going to say, what is the largest country in the world? And this time I'm going to change it to a short answer. So I want the student to be able to write Russia. I'm going to go back to the previous question and add some option to the countries in Asia. And let's say it's India is one option. And then I'm going to add China, Brazil, and Spain. Try a few more questions. I'm going to add one more question over here, and at any point I can move this question up and down to change the order of the questions. And let's say I'm going to ask, what is the longest river in the world? And then instead of a multiple choice, I want to do a drop-down menu where the students will have to click on the menu and select the answer. And I'm going to say the Amazon River, the Danube River, maybe the Yellow River, and then the right answer is denial. And let's add one more open question at the end. And that question is going to be paragraph, so the student can answer anything they want. And I'm going to ask the student to describe a tropical climate. So now I have my quiz, and I can require the student to take all the questions by clicking required on each one of them. So the student won't skip any questions. And once I've done that, I can change the appearance of the quiz. I can choose a different color for the frame. So you see it's purple right now. I can change it, for example, to orange or green. And I can also choose a different background color. So you can see I can choose a different font. So there are a lot of options I can choose in terms of the quiz appearance. Once I have the quiz the way I want it to, I can preview my quiz by clicking on the eye icon over here. That's going to open the quiz in a separate window. This is what the students will see when they open the quiz. And everything looks right to me, so I'm going to close this window. And I'm going to play with some of the options. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to click on this bracket, which is a setting. And under the general option, one of the things that I can do is I collect email addresses. That way I can respond to the recipient, telling them that they completed the quiz, or send the result for the quiz after I grade it. And I can pick what individual request, or I can always send the individual response. I can also limit the quiz to one response. In order to do it, the student will have to open an account with Google, and Google will accept only one response per account. I can allow the students to edit the responses after submit them if I want it to be more of a learning experience, or I can also uncheck this so the students will have to submit their quiz and will no longer be able to change it. And I can also allow the student to see how other students are doing. They won't be able to see the other students' questions, but they'll be able to see how many got each question correct by clicking on this check mark. So I can pick my preferences over here. I next click on the presentation tab. If it's a long quiz, I may want to show the student their progress. And if I'm trying to prevent cheating, I may choose to shuffle the questions order. And finally, I can click on quizzes. If this is a quiz, I want to make sure that this button is clicked on. And then I can choose where the student will see the answers immediately after they submit the quiz, or at a later time when I'm ready to grade it. I can also choose to see whether the students are going to see their missed questions or not, whether they're going to see the correct answers or not, and the points value in the quiz. So I can see what the students will see, and I have to make sure that I press save. Once I've done that, there are several ways I can share the quiz with the student. So I'm going to click on send and I have three options. The easiest option for me is to click on a link, and I can actually choose a shortened link by clicking on the checkbox. Then I can just copy the link by either pressing Control-C, right-click on this, or pressing copy. And let's say I can email this to my students. So I'm going to open my email account. And this time I'm going to send an email to myself. But of course, you can also send to your entire class. I'm going to call this quiz. And I'm just going to paste the link to the quiz over here and then send it to myself. Another option I have is if I go back to the quiz, I can click on the email icon, and I can type my student's email. And put semicolon between them. So once I have all my students' email, I can pick a subject, and I can also change a message. For example, say, please complete this quiz, and I can send it to them directly. Bear in mind that this will be sent from your Gmail account. So if you're not using Gmail as your official work email, this is probably not a good option for you. I can also take the link that I created and put it directly on my class website. So I'm going to open my class website, and I'm going to create another activity. So this is Moodle, but if you use Canvas or Blackboard or any other learning management system, you have a similar type of functionality. So in Moodle, I'm going to make sure that my editing is being turned on. And then I'm going to go to the end of the section. I'm going to add an activity. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom and add a URL. And then I'm going to call this whatever I want. Let's say geography quiz. I'm going to paste the URL or the link over here. I can describe what I want the student to do over here. And then under appearance, I want to open this up and make sure this opens in a new window. And I'm going to click save and return to course. And that link will now appear at the bottom of the section. So if a student clicks on it, they'll be able to go directly to the quiz right over here. The final option I have is I can embed the quiz, and I can click on the embed sign right over here, and I can copy this HTML code to embed the quiz. Then I can go on my class website, and this is using Moodle, but Canvas and Blackboard and other learning management systems have a similar function. And this I'm going to add an activity, but instead of a link, I'm going to add a page. So I'm going to go to the bottom and click on a page. And again, describe this as quiz on geography. And please take this quiz. And then under the page content, I'm going to click on this downward arrow. And I need to open this as an HTML file. And then I can take my entire HTML code and paste it over here. And then I can save it and return to the course. And now if the students opens this page, what you'll see is the quiz embedded inside of my class. So those are the 4 options you have to share the quiz with your students. So let's try one of these options. So earlier I sent myself the quiz in email. I'm going to follow that link. I'm going to click on it. And that's going to open the quiz the way a student would see it. So the first thing it asks me to do is put my email address, which I'll put over here. And then it auto-complete one of the answers, but it's not correct. So I'm going to say, what's the largest country in the world? And I'm going to say Russia. And for the largest river in the world, let's say I picked the wrong answer, and I'm going to say the Amazon River. And then what is the capital of Germany? And I'm going to pick Berlin. And which of countries are in Asia? So I'm going to pick India, which is correct, but I'm also going to pick Brazil. And describe a tropical climate. I'm just going to say it's hot. And then I'm going to submit my answers. So here it says your response has been recorded. So I know my quiz has been recorded as a student. Let's see what the professor will see. So I'm going to go back to the professor's view, right? And now a response appears right over here on Google Forms. And I can click on that. And the first thing I see is a summary. So it shows you what answers the students picked. And if you have multiple students, of course, you can imagine this pie will be split, and you'll see what percent picked Amazon, what percent picked the Noob, and so on. So this gives you a very quick overview of the student's performance. And then you can also click on individuals and look at how each individual did. Now, bear in mind that we have not added points to the quiz yet. And the reason you don't want to do it immediately is because if you provide the answers and the points for the quiz right away, students can easily see those by looking at the source. So they can right-click on the page, go to source, which gives them the code for the quiz, and they can see what the answer is. So now I'm going to revise the quiz and also add answers. So I can click on the answer key over here, and I can mark Berlin as a correct answer, and I can assign 2 points for this question. And then over here, I can click on the countries in Asia, and I can check India, and I can click on answer key first, and I can click on India and China. And for each of these, I can also add feedback for both the incorrect and correct answers. And let's do the rest of them. I'm going to click on this. I'm going to add the answer key. I'm going to pick Nile as the longest river. Describe a tropical climate is an open question, so there's no specific answer for it. But in the answer key, I could provide some feedback. I can say it's hot with 1 season, and then I can just provide feedback for my students, and I can save it. I can also add a video or a link to an article or another website that has more information about the answer. So I'm going to save this. And finally, what is the largest country in the world? So I'm going to provide an answer key. And I'm going to write down Russia. And you can write variation of the question, of the answer. If you want, for example, student might say, it's Russia. Okay. So you can add different variation in case the student doesn't answer the question exactly as you anticipate. And then I'm going to make sure to assign points for each one of these questions. I'm going to give 2 points per question. And click on each one of those and add in the points. And now I'm ready to grade my quiz. And now if I go back to responses, you can see that the response has been graded and the individual got 4 out of 10 points. Now remember, 4 of these questions were graded automatically, and 1 of them is an open question. So I can go back and look at individual responses and go all the way to the end. And this person says the tropical climate is hot, which is true, but it's not a complete answer. So I'm going to give him 1 of 2 points. And then I'm going to save this. And now I can see the individual got 5 out of 10 points. So you can see these quizzes are very easy to create. They can be very visual. They can be shared with the students in multiple ways. And once you have all the responses, you can share the result with your students without revealing any of the students' name. And then you can talk about what they did right and what they did wrong and what questions they were strong on and where they need some improvement. So thank you for watching this tutorial. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comment section below.